Your burnout is stealing the joy, your dopamine system going completely numb because you've been chasing that validation instead of connection this entire holiday season. Welcome to the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast, the podcast where we debunk the eat less, move more, shrink more mentality and focus on what really matters, which includes your relationship with your body, food, self-worth, and the behaviors that align with all of those. I'm your host, Christina Hathaway, licensed therapist with specialized training in food and body obsession, certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. At the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast, we believe what you say in your mind, you see in the mirror. So let's have a conversation about that. Hey, so I know we have a lot of announcements, but there's so many cool things going on at the Mindset of Matter. And I want to let you guys know that we are running a Healthy Holidays Challenge. You may have seen it on my Instagram, and it starts November 17th. So it's starting pretty soon. This challenge is here to help you not abandon yourself this holiday season. With the help of Coach Olivia, you are going to receive nutritional support. You're going to learn how to move your body in ways that don't deplete you. And you're going to have an aspect of mental health to get you through this season. This is a community challenge that is going to have group coaching calls as well, access to your community to help support you. This is a 7-week challenge. It's $77 and it's for new clients only because we want to give you a little bit of taste of what it's like to work with us, and there will be an opportunity to move forward with us at discounted rates, which is very exciting. So if you are interested, check out the show notes below for the link. You will need to sign up before November 17th, and I hope to see you there. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast. You should feel really good about the fact that you took out time for yourself to learn something about your physical and mental health. That's pretty fucking awesome. And today we're talking about when you hit the wall, 5 signs of burnout before it breaks you, the holiday edition. Now, I am going to be talking about the holidays until I'm blue in the face. I'm going to be repeating myself until I'm blue in the face solely for you. I am sacrificing myself for you so that you get through this holiday season not feeling burnt out, not engaging in food and distorted behavior choices, not totally giving up on yourself. So you're welcome. But you know, the holidays, when we look beneath the surface, we have so much going on. And if you're already someone that just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes, this is the time of year that can completely deplete you. And this conversation could not only be discussed around the holidays. Burnout is something we talk about here often because a lot of the clients and the women who listen to this podcast are overachievers. They're a perfectionist. I am a perfectionist princess, meaning I need a new name, so maybe you guys can come up with one. Like, I work with perfectionists. They are my clientele. Why? Because I'm a recovering perfectionist and I can tell you exactly why you do the things you do, why you're afraid of failure, what you've created in your mind about it, and the behaviors that are connected to it and the outcomes that you don't desire that are connected to it as well. But let's talk about why the holidays make us feel like we're spinning into this faster. The holidays do trigger a burnout faster than any other time of the year because they activate every root issue that we have. I said this in the last episode. People pleasing, right? Of course, making the pressure to make everyone feel happy. Perfectionism, believing that joy must be this perfect curated thing. Scarcity, feeling like there's not enough time, there's not enough money, there's not enough love. The kids don't have enough presents, right? The biggest one, comparison to everyone else. You're watching the gal on TikTok who's making everything from scratch. And through all of this, you have a complete boundary collapse, right? You say yes out of guilt, not out of generosity. You add this on top of cold weather, less sunlight, blood sugar chaos from eating all of the food, and your nervous system is going to be maxed out. This is why you end up feeling resentful. This is why you feel like there's not enough time. You're not enough, right? You're feeling all these things while trying to be grateful because it's the holidays and you're running someone else's holiday story. It's not even your own. It's not yours. It could be the story of your mother and your grandmother. It could be the story of the woman on TikTok. But today we're talking about what happens when you hit the wall, right? When you hit that burnout and how to see it coming before it breaks you. But what we're also adding is something deeper, like why burnout isn't just about like doing too much, right? It's really about what you've been taught to carry. And not only like as the woman that you are, but when you look at like the holiday seasons, we see like generation after generation putting so much pressure on you and seeing how over the generations that pressure has been put on the women usually. And holidays make it really hard because it is more clear and more blatant, right? Because let's be honest, this time of year, even the calmest, chillest woman will turn into the performer, right? I talked about this on the last episode. The hostess, the caregiver, the glue, the gift maker, the one that make it special for everyone else but herself, right? And she, no matter how chill she is, at some point is going to have a mental B and she's going to not love it. And it's going to affect everyone around her. And everything that she's trying to do when it comes to making everything special is going to crumble because she feels like absolute dog shit and it's projected onto everyone else. So if we could avoid that and you actually feel special in the special, that would be fantastic. Okay. Because let's face it, baby girl, you are smiling through the exhaustion. You're overextending your body. You're ignoring your hunger. Oh my God, I can't even tell you how many times clients like, well, I was just running. I was going to the mall and this and that, and I just didn't eat. And then I ate everything, right? You ignore your hunger and you tell yourself, I'll be fine. I'm just going to get through the holidays. I'll rest in January. Okay. You know, that's not true. That is not tradition either. It's trauma. Disguised as this obligation. And again, it can be very much intergenerational. And we want to talk about how to stop repeating this pattern and recognize these early signs. So let's talk about, though, what burnout actually is and why it's so common for us ladies. So burnout isn't just feeling tired, right? Burnout is your body basically saying like, hey, girl, I've been operating in survival mode for so fucking long. So long. I've actually forgotten what safety feels like to me. You know how many people tell me that? Like, but I've just felt this way for so long. That doesn't mean it's great. You know, I think about this stupid pain I have in my side. And listen, I'm being a hypocrite saying this. I have this terrible pain in my side. Now, right now it doesn't hurt, which is nice. But I would say the majority of the month I have this terrible pain and I just live with it. Or actually, I'll say something opposite. I have a really bad pain in my trap muscles. I actually just am texting with Dr. Trap and asked her to do some cupping on them, and we're coordinating that now because I don't want to live with this pain in my trap muscles. I absolutely hate it. But when it comes to our mental overwhelm, we just live with it, right? And what happens is it can keep overriding your body's limits, right? And you continue to like meet the demands of others, to meet, these unrealistic expectations of yourself, especially during the holiday season. And for women, this is a historical thing. You most likely saw your mothers and your grandmothers do it for centuries. Women have continued to prioritize care over rest, appearance over presence, right? Or peace, and productivity over everything else. And again, this is the season where it's like the holidays is like a Miss America pageant for every single woman out there. You're pulling out all the talents and all the stops, and you're doing it hungry, tired, annoyed, and all the things. So we're going to talk about those things. But again, why do we do it? Why do we do it? Because of the praise, baby. We love it. I love it. I love someone to come in my house and be like, oh my God, it looks so cute. I made my husband recreate Halloween decorations. Now, guess who didn't do that? I created the idea. He made them. Why? Because I delegate. That's what we're going to talk about, right? But we love the praise. We love the praise. We are taught that praise or that value comes with the sacrifice, all right? It comes with the sacrifice of staying up all night, wrapping the gifts perfectly so they look like they're from Santa Claus, right? It comes in the service of helping others, because I didn't even talk about this on the last episode, but we also give to others. Not only are we buying all the presents for our families, y'all are some amazing women and you're adopting families, or you're doing food or toy drives, you're going to homeless shelters. I love that for you. I love that for you. However, none of that matters if you're not taking care of yourself, right? It's a beautiful gesture. But in the hierarchy of care, you come first. Okay. So, good news is we can end this. I know, very exciting. You can become the woman who chooses regulation, right? Chooses regulation in the holiday season, chooses herself during this holiday season while being able to enjoy the holiday season. And that in itself, that little switch is going to make a difference for everyone around you. But let's get into the signs, shall we? So, sign number one that you are heading towards burnout, baby, is you're tired and wired. You are now just running on adrenaline and most likely a pumpkin spice latte or two or 10. You completely collapse at night. You can't shut your brain off, though. So you're incredibly tired, but you are just going through, okay, tomorrow I have to go and pick up the fruitcake, and then I got to go over to that store to make sure that I get the garland that my mom likes. And then, okay, from there, I'm going, okay, wait, no, I need to do this for, you know, and you're just playing like mental Tetris around your day. Your body is like, girl, can we go to sleep now? Like, I'm freaking tired. But your mind, it's like scrolling and planning and map questing. If you don't know what that is, MapQuest used to be a site where you would actually have to go in and put where you were going to get a printout of where you were going, right? But you're planning, you're fixing, you're doing all the things. You are stuck in that survival mode, right? And the thing about sleep is that we don't actually know why we sleep because it's incredibly vulnerable for us to sleep, right? Because we're asleep and we don't know if someone's coming in or, you know, obviously prehistorically, we didn't know if there was a predator in our space or someone trying to take over our territory. And it is a very vulnerable state. So when your brain is in this kind of planning, scrolling, you know, trying to figure out the day mode, it creates a lot of stress on the body. So the body thinks that there is that predator there. It thinks that there is a threat. So why would it have you go to sleep? Right? Because again, sleep is our most vulnerable state. So why would it have you going to sleep? Then during the holidays, it gets worse because we add on the checklist, but then we add on the overstimulation, right? So we have, I don't know, the lights of your neighbor in the house that are flashing, or maybe you're next door to one of those people who have like the song and the like dancing inflatables, right? You have socializing, you have sugar, you have noise, you have the, you know, all I want for Christmas is you on repeat in your head. Your system is completely flooded and your off switch is broken. It's broken, right? Baby girl, you don't need another pumpkin spice latte. You need to calm the fuck down. You need to calm down. We need those micro moments of stillness that you can incorporate in your day. I don't care if it's when your kids are talking to Santa Claus about whatever it is that they want. They'll take the picture. You don't have to video and film and smile. Like, they have people that do that. They're hired. That's their job. Maybe go sit on the bench, take a deep breath. And if the kids ask, did you see me, mama? Yeah, look, I have the picture. Right? Micro moments of stillness. One deep breath. One deep breath. Right? Maybe don't open your phone until a certain time of the day. Maybe 1 minute of silence in between, I don't know, when you're on the toilet. Maybe a slow breath out, a nice long exhale, which we love here, before saying yes to another social event. Maybe we take a pause and a breather before any commitments. Because you and I both know traditionally your default is yes, right? Our default is no longer yes. Our default is breath, then choice, right? And as I talked about in the boundary episode, this was a few weeks ago, you can tell people like my heart, my little holiday heart wants to say yes, yes, yes. But from a time perspective, this is going to have to be a no. Write that down, put it in your notes, for, you know, tattoo it on your forehead. I don't care what you do. that is your guiding light, because being tired and wired means you've overextended yourself. Your brain cannot turn off. Because you've overextended yourself, you have no fucking clue how you're going to possibly do everything in one day. So therefore, you're playing that over and over again while your body is completely exhausted and you can't sleep. And then guess what happens? You're tired the next day and you half-ass things. Your emotional boundaries are down. You're probably grabbing an Auntie Anne's pretzel in the mall because you're so fucking hungry because you're so tired and you need energy. And obviously Auntie Anne's smells delicious that you're like, I'm going to eat that. Plus, I'm going to get the cheese, and I'm going to get, oh, look, they have cookies. I'm going to get that too. And oh, I'm going to grab, oh, they have a frozen lemonade. I'm going to get that. No, that's not going to help. So micro moments of chill. Okay. You're a woman who makes it all happen. The deadlines, the deals, the demands. You're disciplined, capable, and results driven. But lately, it's taking a lot more effort to feel like yourself. You're still achieving. You're not thriving. And deep down, success shouldn't cost your energy, your focus, or your peace. You don't need another plan. You need a strategy that matches your ambition. You've built a life around achievement, but no one ever taught you how to sustain it. Most high-performing women are operating with fractured systems. Great work ethic, but poor recovery. A strong body, but an overwhelmed mind. A plan for success, but not for longevity. You don't need more hustle. You need alignment. Your nervous system, nutrition, and training working with you, not against you. Hi, I'm Christina Hathaway, founder and CEO of The Mindset of Matter, a company built to help ambitious women master high performance from the inside out. I have a master's degree in marriage and family therapy with specialized training in food and body obsession, certified personal trainer and nutrition coach who spent over 15 years helping women reprogram their relationship with achievement, food, and their body that they lead from. I integrate clinical psychology, behavioral science, and performance physiology to create what most programs miss: a complete strategy for mental clarity, physical resilience, and sustainable success. This isn't just life coaching. This is human performance training for elite women, where therapy meets science and strategy meets embodiment. This Black Friday, I'm opening a limited time opportunity to work with me directly, offering $775 off our 6 months one-to-one mentorship. This is a personalized, high-touch transformation program where therapy meets training and nutrition. We'll rebuild your energy, your metabolism, and your mindset so you can lead with clarity, confidence, and strength that lasts. Or also $775 off our 6-month group mentorship with Coach Liv, with my direct oversight and involvement in monthly calls. Same science-backed framework delivered in a community for women who want accountability, precision, and power alongside other overachievers. There are no strict meal plans. There's no hustle culture. There is no one-size-fits-all routines. You'll get an evidence-based system that blends therapeutic insight to regulate your nervous system and rewire your relationship with yourself, nutrition strategy to fuel your focus, stabilize your energy, and restore metabolic health, performance training that builds strength, stamina, and resilience without sacrificing your recovery. Because structure isn't the enemy, misalignment is. When your body and mind are optimized, you don't just get results, you keep them. This is the blueprint for you to become unstoppable. This Black Friday offer is open for a limited time only. When it closes, it closes. No extensions, no exceptions. If you're ready to stop settling for functioning and start operating at your full potential, this is your power move. Because wellness isn't self-care, it's a performance strategy. And the women who understand that, they don't just succeed, they lead this standard. The Mindset of Matter, where therapy meets physiology, where high-achieving women come to lead stronger, think clearer, and live with unmatched power. Sign number 2, you're being reactive, not responsive, okay? Burnout creates a short fuse, as I said. Your emotional boundaries, I feel like I'm sinking, by the way, you guys. I'm looking at myself in the camera and it's like, I'm like talking about this and like, it looks like I just get lower and lower in the camera. Sorry. Okay. If you're watching on YouTube, I had to readjust. Okay. Your emotional boundaries are down. What are emotional boundaries? I think of emotional boundaries as like a dam wall, like the Hoover Dam, right? There's this big wall. It's keeping everything in, right? But as you overextend yourself, that wall gets very, very weak and it cracks. And those cracks allow the shit that it's behind it, which is all of your insecurities, everything to just seep through, right? And if your emotional boundaries are down, all of the emotions are just running rampant like a toddler with scissors in your head, right? So you snap at your partner, your mom, your grandmother, your coworkers. Then you feel guilty. You feel extra guilty because it's the holidays and we can't just have one nice dinner without you being a bitch. How many times have you heard that? Or maybe said that? Because both can be true, right? But what's really happening is your window of tolerance is very narrow during this time. Again, when our brain is overloaded, your body is probably also undernourished unless we had our anti-M's meal. Even then, though, it's processed food, so it's going to go in your body and out of your body. We're not providing ourselves with the nourishment and the fuel, but also I should say the nourishment and the fuel to manage the overload. So now we're just at this depleted place, and there's no capacity left for empathy or patience for other people, right? So if you're beginning to see that you're getting more reactive, then that's a good sign, baby girl, that we're on our way to burnout. This is why so many women dread the holidays. It's because they know that this is a time they're going to be so emotionally tapped, and usually it's even before the day of, right? We burn ourselves out emotionally. That how many of you have sat on the couch watching your kids open presents and you're just a zombie, or you're at I mean, I know I've done this. Like, I'm so tapped out. I have a really big family and I'm childless, which I know this sounds really selfish, but I have to buy for a lot of people, but people don't have to buy for us. They should buy for my dogs. That's what I'm going to ask them this year. Anyway, so I'm out there trying to figure out who likes what. The kids are, and now I have adult nieces and nephews. I have great nieces and nephews at this point, being the youngest. That's what happens. And that's okay. It's getting a bit easier. But back in the day, like when I was like 26, 27, like I still have a large family that I had kids to plan for and do all of the wrapping and making sure everything was great and making sure my mom was okay. That was another thing, right? So I'm doing all of this work and I'm going in the mall. I'm trying to find parking. People are dicks, long lines. You're overloaded. Your emotional boundaries are coming down on top of then I have to show up in a place where every other woman's emotional boundaries are down and now everyone's in a fucking tizzy. Right? So I never thought about that till right now. Sorry. So we women don't love this. We're emotionally tapped out before the holidays even arrive for us, right? The thing that we can do though is we need to figure out how to be present, but you can't be present if you're constantly on defense mode, which means, again, like I said earlier, we can't enjoy. The thing is, we don't need to be nicer, because if you don't want to be nice or you don't need to be nicer, that's not always the default. Like if you're being like reactive, you don't need to be nicer. I just need to say that. You, again, need space to breathe, permission not to hold everyone's emotions, right? Permission to not have to engage with the drama and the bullshit and the stress. You very much can just breathe and find your presence. And whatever that presence is for you and your family. And sometimes when you are saying, look, I'm getting really reactive, I'm not enjoying this process. If you have daughters specifically and sons, you're showing them like, that's not normal to be running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I'm getting really reactive towards you guys because I've said yes to too much. And I'm wondering if you can help me with some things. Maybe you have your son wrap your daughter's gifts, your daughter wrap your son's gifts. I think my mom did that when we were younger, actually. And it's fun. I loved wrapping presents with my mom. And it doesn't need to be perfect or whatever. Obviously, if you have partners, get them to do some shit too. So that's sign number 2. Sign number 3, nothing feels enough. You've checked every box. The house is perfectly decorated. You have the perfect white theme. It's a winter wonderland. You've Pinterest the shit out of it. You have all of the gifts are wrapped. They look like you took them to Macy's. Remember back in the day when you can get gift wrap at a store? Do they still do that, you guys? Because well, I guess they do it at the mall now, but I'm sure there's like businesses that do it too. But y'all, we used to be able to take something. Oh, it was the best. So my dad would be like, "Oh yeah, and we're gonna get it gift wrapped here." It was like $2.50. It was the shit. You had like a bow. Anyway, you, however, have now gift wrapped everything. Everyone is fed. You have the most beautiful meal. Everyone is sitting watching TV, watching football, and your ass is in the kitchen cleaning up, right? And still, you feel flat. You feel flat. Your burnout is stealing the joy. Your dopamine system going completely numb, right? Because you've been chasing that validation instead of connection this entire holiday season. And we all do it, right? We all do it because, again, that's what we have been taught to do. As I mentioned, historically, women are celebrated for pleasing, right? Pleasing everyone else. They're celebrated for all of the checkbox. And the checkbox seems to be getting longer, don't you guys think? Because I think about you have the decorations, of course, and there is this like trad wife deal going on where, they're making the holly from like actual holly leaves. You're like, yeah, I bought that shit from Target, but okay, let me try harder. You have the Joanna Gaines and all these HGTV, and you see the holiday cookie challenge, and maybe you have a women's event, and Carol always brings the best charcuterie boards, but now everyone's got to be a board, and you're like, shit, I can't show up with a shitty board, right? The checklist just keeps getting longer and longer and longer, right? And you keep checking it off, baby girl, but it's not helping. And you're pleasing everyone, and the pleases get harder too, right? The conditioning runs deep here. And, unfortunately in this day and age, we in this generation, or these generations currently present in the motherly role, we've got a lot going down. So when you slow down and try to enjoy, your brain literally doesn't know how to do it. This season, I don't want you to add more. I want you to feel more. Okay. I want you to slow down. I want you to slow down long enough to register that it's the holidays, and think about what that means. Having a sense of gratitude, a sense of groundedness, a sense of connection to your family, right? That is so important. That pause is more of a payoff than any please will be. Sitting and thinking, wow, I'm so thankful that I have a house and I have this healthy family where we can all put up a tree together. And that's enough. All right. Nobody, if people only like you for how extravagant and extraordinary things are in regards to your parties or your decorations or your presents, then those aren't healthy people in your life, right? And if your kids, and I was this kid, I wanted the beautiful setup. And my mom didn't, I mean, she had her things. Like she has this little village and she likes to collect little things for it. It's like her thing, right? But then she also, at a certain point, this was actually a really great boundary my mom set. She's like, well, you kids all have your own homes and your own trees. So I'm just going to buy this little tree. Like she bought a little tree and like just puts it up and puts a couple of the ornaments on, and that's what she does, like have your thing. Oh, what I was saying though is when we were younger, like I decorated. She gave me that. And now I do the same here, but it takes me probably, I don't know, 25 minutes to decorate my house. Is the same shit. Maybe I'll incorporate new stuff in. The other thing that we have is we have lights on our house all year round. Those like I don't they're like these cool LED lights. So I love them because we can change the colors just from the phone, right? So right now they're orange for the fall. In the summer, I'll do like red, white, and blue. I'll do like yellow, green, and orange. So I don't have to put any lights up. I think we have a blow up snowman and a reindeer and some other I don't even know what we have. Mark will put it up, right? So I don't know where I was going with that, but stay stay grateful, stay grounded, right? So number 3 is not only stay grateful and grounded, but focus on your wins. Focus on the things you've done, right? And recognize that I want you to set what's a good enough. Not perfect. Not what Susie or Carol's doing. What is it good enough for me and my family? Maybe you ask your family that. Like, hey guys, you know, I'm really tired of being like overdrawn for the holiday season. Like, what would be enough for you guys to feel like this is the holidays, but also for mom and dad to like chill out for a little bit? And they'd probably be like, Mom, we don't care. We just glad, you have the day off with us and you're not banging pots and pans around and throwing things out the window. Like, so ask your family that. Okay. Last sign is your body is, of course, speaking to you. You'll notice your digestion feels off, right? Your period might go missing or last longer. That's incredibly important. Your sugar cravings are through the roof, or you're using a lot more alcohol to cope. And your workouts during this time leave you incredibly depleted. You start feeling like you're falling apart, like you don't feel like yourself. And it's really your nervous system defending you from further depletion. Like it's starting to like either look for other ways to find instant relief, or it is not acting in a recovered way, because that recovery you need more and more and more of, because again, you're doing more and more. And when you ignore those cues from doing the more and more long enough, they eventually turn into these symptoms, right? And if you do it long enough, it can actually have a very negative effect on you. And actually, have you guys realized how many women get sick after the holidays? I know I have multiple times come like January 6th. I'm on my deathbed, right? It's because the crash comes when the adrenaline of doing finally wears off, right? And that, we've been running at this high stress, high stress, high stress. The stress comes down and our body finally starts to experience what's going on. So rather than maybe asking like, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I just, keep up? Or, I'll deal with that later. Try asking like, how long have I been overextending myself like this? How long have I been trying to just run? It's a great thing to ask. And recognizing like, I don't want to be sick after this. I don't have to take another 2 weeks off of work. I want to enjoy my time off. And if you've been overextending yourself for too long, again, we've got to take a breath. We've got to set a boundary. We need to do less. Okay. And number 5, you feel disconnected from yourself. I thought I said number 4 was last. It's 5. You feel disconnected. You're walking around like the headless horseman. You're emotionally detached. You're there in the room. Like I said, you're watching the kids, but you're not really there. You could literally close your eyes and go to sleep right now. You're smiling in the photos, but you're completely numb inside. You feel depressed. And I think too seasonal depression is really a thing, especially when it comes to like seasonal change, but sometimes it's really this. It's the fact that yes, during the winter time is also during the holiday time, and you're overdoing it, right? You feel depressed, but it also could just be you're so disconnected because being in your body is exhausting. Of course it is. Of course it's exhausting. You've been performing so long that stillness feels like it's unsafe, right? Just being there, you're like, I need to disconnect. I need to check out. I can't just be here because being in my body is too much. And again, you've been conditioned this way, my dears. For centuries, women have survived by shutting their needs down, especially during the holidays. I know. But this holiday, we are writing a different story. We get to stop performing joy. We get to stop performing happiness and excitement. And we're going to just practice presence, baby. We're going to stay present on how we feel. We don't have to pretend. We don't have to overdo it. We don't have to get, and I get it. I don't have kids, and I know that you guys are wonderful parents and you want them to have that excitement. But you and I both know they could be excited over a beautiful bow that you bought from the lady who does the wrapping for you. How many of your kids have liked a box better than they've liked something else? Now, as they get older, obviously, then it becomes more material. It's not about the moment. And that's an issue in itself. Because then we're conditioning them that material things matter. And then as they become parents, now we're repeating the pattern, right? But when you can practice presence and practice presence with a C instead of a T at the end and making that more important, you're creating that excitement that's real, not the facade that you want, the facade you see on TV with, the trad wife mom. You're creating a real connection to yourself and to your family. And I think that's so incredibly important because, again, we're not performing the joy anymore. We're performing or practicing the presence. Cut that last part. Because again, we're not performing joy. We're practicing presence. So let's go over them. Number 1 was tired and wired. Number 2 is you're reactive, not responsive. Number 3 is nothing feels like enough. Number 4 is your body is starting to speak to you. And number 5, you feel emotionally disconnected. Again, this year is so full of so many of these things. People pleasing, perfectionism, scarcity, right? Feeling like there's not enough time, money, or love, comparison to others, those endless highlight reels, looking at everyone on TikTok who's, making everything from scratch, the complete boundary collapse that you have, saying yes out of guilt, not being able to say no. All of these things are so important on top of cold weather, less sunlight, blood sugar chaos. Your nervous system is officially maxed out. So what do we do, right? I've already given you a lot of things to do, but maybe it's a smaller, slower, quieter season. Maybe it's fewer gifts or more grounded moments. Maybe it's no gifts. We're all just going to go on vacation, right? Now, vacation has its own stressors. You're allowed to protect your peace, even during the most wonderful time of the year, because peace is something we have to choose. And we have to choose it. And most of the time, if we're choosing it, we're also choosing to do something different. We're also choosing to make changes in our time, our energy, our tasks, our socializing. In order to create our peace, we have to choose how we're going to show up in those ways differently. So let's talk about how to interrupt this. So what we're going to do, like I said, is pause. Right? We're going to pause before we perform. We're going to stop before saying yes, because if you don't, you're going to regret it. You're going to ask yourself, am I saying yes to this because it's generous, or am I saying yes because of guilt? Now, both can still be a negative. If it's out of generosity and you don't have the time, it's still instantly a no. Okay? Even though you want to give, I get you. I see you. But if you're like, you know what? I have the time and this means a lot to me, then say yes. If we're saying anything out of guilt that someone's not going to like us because they came to our party, we need to go to theirs, it's still a no. Okay. We need to fuel ourselves during this time. Fueling yourself, eating when you're hungry or eating when you need to, is one of the greatest forms of self-care and comfort, because your body needs it to survive. So we're not going to skip foods. We're not going to not have a plan, especially you guys, when we're going on these long shopping trips or whatever it is. We want to skip the sugar crash, skip the shame cycle. We're going to bring treats or bring snacks. I love a car bag of snacks during the holidays if we're running around everywhere. Or we're going to say, okay, when I'm at the mall, I'm going to go to Chick-fil-A or I'm going to go to Paradise Bakery or what is it called? Panera now. We're going to just ensure, or maybe we just bring something with us, bring a sandwich, especially if you're traveling. Like I've told you guys this before, you can bring an extra bag of food on the airplane that is not your carry-on or your personal item. You can bring sandwiches. I just did this on my way to New York City. We brought sandwiches, our own baked chips. We brought a barbell protein bars. I've brought chopsticks. You are allowed to do that. So make sure that we're eating to fuel, right? To calm. We're not eating to feel a sense of control, of course, over our emotions. And we're also not skipping meals because we're busy. That is not an excuse. That is not a reason. We're not doing that anymore. We also want to anchor our body daily. Like I talked about, 2 minutes of grounding while the kids are talking to Santa Claus, or the kids are upstairs, maybe wrapping a couple of presents for you. Like that could be a time to put your feet on the floor, have a big breath in your belly, name what's going on. Maybe you're going to journal. Maybe the kids are watching a Christmas story and I would want you to watch the Christmas story with them, but they're doing something. Maybe they're coloring or making ornaments, right? Maybe while they're doing that, you're journaling, right? Or maybe you're making the ornaments because you're doing it together and you're not doing all the work. Everyone's involved, right? So not only figuring out what can I do to ground myself on my own, but how can I also ground myself with my family, right? How can I just stay present with them, right? And as I already mentioned, let good enough be the goal. Let good enough be the goal. The pie doesn't need to be perfect, okay? The decorations don't need to be perfect. Nothing needs to be perfect. Nothing needs to be perfect. You literally rip the paper off. You rip the paper off. You take the decorations down. People eat the pie. They don't give a shit what it looks like, right? It doesn't need to have a holly, made out of crust. No. And maybe this year you only bake cookies for the people in your immediate family, not the neighbors, not the PTA. Maybe this year you're not in charge of the Christmas party at school or the holiday party. There's probably 35 other parents who can do it, right? So let good enough be the goal. You're enough. Or what if you have kids and a partner that want to get involved, be like, hey, what do you guys want to do? How do you want to decorate? Right? Maybe, yes, you might have to go grab some things, but you know what? I usually decorate. I want to see what you guys do. And if people come over and be like, yeah, my kids helped me decorate this year. And if they have a problem with that, it's probably because they're upset they didn't think about that themselves. Then, of course, recover in real time. Don't wait for January. Do not wait for January. Build in those micro moments so that you can begin to repair now, not in January, because once January hits, you're probably going to get sick. And they're going to be pissed. Like, oh my God, I was supposed to get back to my program and now I'm sick. And then your motivation to start in January wears off because you're sick for the first 2 weeks and then nothing happens, right? You can't pour from an empty cup, right? You can't pour, even though that cup is beautiful and it has perfect little holiday decorations on it, and you think that the contents in it are so tasty and yummy. If there's nothing in the cup, you can't pour from it, right? You don't have to pour from that cup. You don't have to prove your love through exhaustion. Got it? Okay. So if you've been pushing through the holidays in survival mode in the past, we're not doing that anymore. You have permission. This is your sign to stop glorifying the grind. We're not doing it, right? We're going to start honoring our humanity. Burnout isn't who you are. Burnout is a byproduct of what you've learned in your life. Burnout is a byproduct of trying to feel worthy, to be enough. You're enough as is, right? You're enough as is. This is the season of gratitude. This is the season of giving. And we're talking about giving. It doesn't mean every ounce of energy in your body. Okay. It's giving love. It's giving connection. It's a time to celebrate. We're going to celebrate differently. We're going to have less performing and more presence. We're going to have less proving and more peace. We're going to have less shoulding and more chilling. Okay. So if this episode hit home, or again, I say this every episode, you've got that friend group, that mom group that needs to hear you. You better be already sending this episode to them. It should already be sent, right? Share it with the women. Share it with the women that you know are quietly caring way too much. Because here's the thing, if you all do it, there is no comparing to the other or feeling bad because someone did more because you're all doing enough, right? So that is my homework to you today. And again, if you want a head start or support around this, this is one of the best times to coach with us because you have a therapist, a nutrition coach, a personal trainer, an unbiased friend, someone who's going to tell you it's okay. You don't have to do that. And someone who's going to help you create new normals during the holiday season. So if you're interested, check out the show notes below. And until then, breathe. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to receive. And I want you to remember this: what you say in your mind, you see in the mirror. Bye bye.